Alright, before I begin, I just want to say thanks for helping this channel reach 1,000 subscribers. Seeing this amount of people actually be interested in what I have to say is still very surprising to me. Also, thanks for being patient for this video. I know I missed last weekend to upload a video, but considering I had finals and the fact that I have to prepare to travel out of the country, I had no alternative but to take a break. So yeah, thanks again for understanding. In honor of this milestone, I want to do something special that involved you guys. After talking about my own opinions on Amphibia and the Owl House, I want to hear some of your opinions and hot takes on those shows, and respond back to what I think about them. Hopefully this will turn out fine, but we'll see, I guess. Alright guys, so here we are. Keep in mind, I am going off script when recording this video, so if I do a lot of stuttering, a lot of pauses, and if you see a bunch of jump cuts in this video, yeah, that's why. So this video is definitely going to be a little bit more casual compared to my previous videos where it's scripted and very well articulated. In reality, I am not a very well articulated person when it comes to speaking, but I am trying to work on it, which is why I have this YouTube channel. So I made this post asking you guys for controversial opinions you have on Amphibia and the Owl House almost a day ago now, and we got 204 comments. Okay, I mean, wow. Admittingly, this is quite a lot. I mean, I should have expected this amount of responses, admittingly, but still, 200 responses within a day is still a lot for me. So yeah, I'm definitely not gonna go through all of it, but I'm gonna go through as many comments as I can and try to hopefully say all my thoughts in a concise and quick way as possible. But given my track record, I'm probably not gonna be able to do that. I'm just gonna go down the comments for I don't know, maybe the first 5, maybe 10, and then I'm just gonna see how it goes and then switch it up a bit looking at the most recent comments and do a lightning round of some sort. Okay, so first one is from Flufux, and to which they write, I don't know if it's actually controversial, but I would say that I'm quite disappointed in the designs for Willow, Gus, and yes, even Amity. Why? Because they're rather bland compared to the rest of the Hexside student body. I mean, compare them to, say, Basha, who has a third eye, or the girl with a head shaped like a crescent moon, and so on. With so many fun and imaginative designs to choose from, why did all the major characters from the school setting end up with the least interesting designs available? And why is the only student who doesn't look like a human with pointy ears who gets any major present in the show have to be the resident bully character? So this is an interesting point. I mean, yeah, I can understand like Willow, Gus, and Amity's designs being rather bland compared to the rest of the Hexside student body, but you sort of have to understand the decision making behind these characters. So, I mean, I don't know, this is speculation on my end, admittingly, but I'm just assuming that Willow, Gus, and Amity are chosen to be the main Hexside student characters because of how relatable they are. And I don't think they would be as relatable if they had like those more unique designs, which is kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, I should say that's probably like the reason why like the Owl House is as popular as it is, because it looks familiar. And if the characters have anything that's too non-human of a character design, that would make the show less relatable to people. I mean, that's sort of like the one thing that probably made Amphibia less popular than the Owl House, is because the main characters there are frogs. But that is a running theory though, I can't actually verify that. Although, that is actually a video idea I may have in the future about discussing why the Owl House is more popular than Amphibia, even though I think both shows are really good. But yeah, that is for another time. So overall, I can agree with that opinion, but it doesn't really make the show worse for me in any way. Anyway, so next one from Benny25162. I think Amphibia was better structured than Gravity Falls. Okay, so in terms of structure, yes, I agree. Having the 3-act, 3-season formula for Amphibia is definitely better structured than Gravity Falls. Although if you're just referring to pacing, Gravity Falls, I think that show does it better. Because there is a bit of a problem with Amphibia Season 1 starting out a bit too slow. I mean, which is probably why some people have such criticisms for being like full of filler, even though Gravity Falls arguably has filler as well. But yeah, in terms of how the story is laid out, Gravity Falls, like, it's fine, but Amphibia definitely does it better. Alright, next up is Seba, who's actually a Discord moderator in my server. So if you want to check out my Discord server, the link will be in the description. Anyway, so he writes, Season 3A of Amphibia wasn't that bad, honestly. Everyone criticizes it for going off-road in terms of actual story, but honestly, having it be a turning point of showing Anne's character progression to her parents and how much she has changed with Amphibia, even having episodes that are mostly based around the planters weren't honestly that bad. I genuinely had more fun on this season than season 1. So yeah, I definitely agree with this one as well. I mean, things for hot takes, I'm very much agreeing with you a lot of this so far, but I agree with this take. I mean, now granted, I am biased because the reason why I like season 3A so much is because it takes place literally in the same area that I live in, which is Southern California. So of course I'm going to appreciate season 3A because I will find it incredibly relatable. But even removing my bias, I still admit that season 3A is well executed for what it is. Sure, it didn't get as dark, but frankly, it's not really a criticism. Yes, you get less angst, but you get to see Anne still go through some growth and show what progression she has to her parents, and in a more lighthearted environment. And even then, we still have some emotional moments. Like, just look at Anne's Terminator, for example, where like Anne still has some room to grow in the eyes of her parents, and then by the mid-season finale, escapes to Amphibia, her parents finally accept her for the growth she has. So yeah, I very much agree with Seba here. Moving on. Okay. So V writes, my controversial opinion is that I feel like the Amphibia fandom focuses too much on Anne, Sasha, and Marcy, as if they're the three main protagonists, and they really ignore the planters who are my favorite characters. Yeah, I very much agree with that as well. With Anne, it makes sense for her to be more popular because she is the main character, but Sasha and Marcy definitely gets a bit too much attention, and the planters don't get enough attention. If you look at the screen time for Sasha and Marcy and compare it to how much attention it has to the fandom, the ratio is so out of whack compared to the planters, who get a bunch of screen time but not enough attention. I mean, to be fair, I can see why, because like what I said earlier, people generally prefer human-like characters, or just outright human characters, because they are more relatable, and Sasha and Marcy are the only other human characters besides Anne that is mostly shown in Amphibia. So yeah, like of course they're gonna get the most attention, which is an unfortunate reality, because I do agree the planters are really good characters, and I do plan to make videos about them specifically at some point, but that's again for another time. So yeah, it is a bit of a controversial opinion, but I do agree with it. So next up, Livy224 writes, I feel like a lot of the fandom shares this opinion with me, but I kind of want to see Sasha and Marcy's parents. I feel like if we got to meet them, their personalities, choices, and character growth would make more sense. We know Sasha's parents are divorced, but not really anything else. Anne's parents are probably some of my favorite characters throughout the entire show, even though they didn't get too much screen time, but I feel like Sasha and Marcy's character arcs would just make more sense if we met their parents. So yeah, I definitely agree with this as well, and yeah, like what you said, a bunch of the fandom shares this opinion as well, so it's not really controversial, but I do want to stress this point, because Matt Brawley actually addressed this criticism, like in either in the tweet or an article. I'll try to find it, but who knows. He did say that they chose to leave them out because they didn't have that much time left to add them in, and they wanted to leave like what their parents are like up to interpretation of the fandom. Which, I mean, for some cases that's fine, but when it comes to Sasha and Marcy's parents, I completely disagree on that decision, because like what you said, meeting their parents would definitely explain so much on why Sasha and Marcy are the way they are. I mean, Marcy, for example, like we saw a little bit of their parents or hear about it them, and that alone was able to explain so much. Imagine if we got an entire scene where we see them interact. I mean, hopefully Marcy's journal will explain that as well, which as of time of recording this video, I have yet to read it. So I'll update that in this video if we do find out about it. Anyways, so yeah, definitely agree. Moving on, so from Kirby778 Confetti writes, Season 3 is the best half season of the show. I'm not even exaggerating. People criticize it because Anne's traumas aren't addressed, but despite that, this half has some of the best episodes in the entire series. The New Normal, Cat Sitting episode, both halves of episode 5, Temple Frogs, Turning Point, also Anne's parents, and the planters are at its peak here. Seeing them adapt to Earth was so absolutely cute. Again, so this is similar to Seba's point, and I agree with that. I'm bringing this up now because I do want to talk about like Anne's trauma aspect. I mean, is it true that leaving out any aspect of Anne's like trauma, is it a bad story writing decision, like leaving that out? Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, it would be more realistic if they showed Anne like having some emotional problems like after she returns to Earth. But you have to remember two things. For one, you are likely to get this information in Marcy's journal, and sure, it's a fair argument to say like you shouldn't have to buy a book to actually get information that you should have gotten in the show itself. But even so, like you still have to consider that Disney still controls Amphibia and what it can show, and Disney definitely wants Amphibia to be a more lighthearted show. So yeah, so it's not really the writer's fault there for not including Anne's trauma. At least we're getting like a taste of it in Marcy's journal, so this criticism doesn't really ring much to me. Yeah, so overall I agree with this point. Okay, next up. Okay, so Antonio writes that the first season of Amphibia was kind of boring sometimes. Okay, so the statement itself is true, technically speaking, but if you're just referring to the entire season 1, no, I don't agree it's boring. Because, I mean, a lot of the best episodes actually did come from season 1. And, I mean, I'm one of those people, like in the fandom, who actually was interested in Amphibia because of its comedic lighthearted nature, rather than its serious story arcs. So, yeah, I mean, so I don't really agree to this as much, but yeah. Okay, so Matt Maeda writes, I would have to say it is weird that Ant's parents were so normal when she came back, i.e. your 13-year-old daughter goes missing on her birthday and is gone for 5 months, but her parents don't seem too crazy about her coming back, as if she just came back from a planned vacation. That is a fair criticism to make. I mean, like, it does seem weird, like, for Ant's parents to be all of a sudden, like, well adjusted. Her daughter's back after 5 months of disappearing. But then at the same time, like, they did see, like, talking frogs pop out of nowhere, and they're just like, the news of the fact about that she was in another world just dropped on top of them, like, instantly. So, I mean, in the words of Mr. Boonshore, like,
this is a lot to take in. I wish we could have been eased into it.
Maybe if they were eased into it, maybe their reactions would be less normal per se, but who knows? I mean, it's a fair criticism, but you sort of have to understand the context of what happened in that scene. So, yeah. Let's look at this one here. So, Prophet Productions, right? I wish we could have gotten more calamity moments with Sasha and Marcy. Okay, so I don't know what you mean by calamity moments. Do you mean like their calamity powers? Yeah, that's true. I definitely do think like we should have seen more of the calamity powers. Like I was honestly expecting that they would get their powers in All In, but instead we got them in The Hardest Thing. And honestly, for something that was built up for like a big finale, you would expect like that scene where the entire calamity trio is fully powered up. Like you would expect them to show that more, but they didn't. So I guess that's kind of a slight disappointment in looking back in The Hardest Thing. Still, like, definitely one of the best episodes of Amphibia overall, but that is like one of its main faults, I will give. Alright, so Hassan writes, I prefer the Calamity Trio having a completely platonic friendship instead of a romantic relationship. That also applies to any pairings in the trio. Yeah, I'm with you there. Whenever I do ship any of the characters, aside from Spivey, I generally do it in a platonic sense. I mean, although for people who do ship them romantically, I respect your opinions on it. But yeah, I agree. Alright, so I'm gonna switch it up a bit and just do a lightning round and look at some of the newest comments available. So I'm just gonna look at the shortest comments available, and I'm just going to react to that. Polly's my least favorite character. Disagree, but I mean, you're entitled to that. Season 2 is my favorite, Season 1 is my second favorite, and Season 3 is my least favorite. Okay, I can acknowledge Season 2 is probably the best, although it's tied with Season 3 in my opinion. Although I disagree with your rankings on Season 1 and 3. Like, my personal ranking is Season 1, and Season 2 and 3 are probably tied, although I probably would give Season 3 the slight edge just because of its better finale. Anyways, they are the two greatest shows ever. I put Amphibia over The Owl House because of the impact they had on my life, and the reason that I watched The Owl House was I wanted something familiar to fill the void. Yeah, that pretty much sums up my thoughts on Amphibia and The Owl House very well. I mean, The Owl House is a really good show, don't get me wrong, but Amphibia's impact on me is just unmatched. I mean, no other show has this much of an impact on me, except for probably SpongeBob. I mean, because I did grow up SpongeBob as a kid, but yeah, Amphibia probably just goes above and beyond on that aspect. Okay, if someone were to watch Amphibia for the first time, I would say skip Season 1. All that happens is that we meet Sasha.
Yep.
I don't like Sasha, even if they work together for several weeks. That doesn't fix the years of manipulation and psychological abuse. I can agree with that. I don't like Sasha Ann, but I don't hate it either. Yeah, they have definitely some quirky moments, and yes, forgiveness is still within the realm of possibility between those two, as they've proven. But for the people who say like they shouldn't have split apart after what they've gone through, no, I disagree with that aspect. Like, it's actually realistic for friends to split up over time, even after having some of the most memorable moments of their lives. Willow is a poorly written character. She barely does anything wrong and is super OP. I will admit, compared to the rest of the main cast of characters and Hexside squad, I feel like Willow definitely is the least interesting to me, but I wouldn't say she's poorly written, so I half agree with you there. The Owl House, a straight couple would be nice. I love the Owl House and Amphibia, but the one thing Amphibia one-ups is the fact that they can at least show an average heterosexual couple. No, I'm not homophobic, but the fact all straight couples are effed in Owl House and is a little weird to me. Well, for one, like there is Huntlow. I mean, they're not an official couple yet, but I feel like it's gonna be confirmed to be canon soon. I mean, I don't agree with this take, but I don't disagree with it either, if that makes any sense. I mean, let's just say that, I mean, I honestly don't care if the couples are heterosexual or homosexual or not. They're just couples. Like, if they love each other, so be it. Alright, the Owl House is just boring. Nope, I disagree with you there. Amphibia is better than the Owl House. Yeah, I can agree with you there. I mean, but again, Owl House is still good. Just keep that in mind. Alright, let's just look at one more. Alright, let's just look at, say, one more. I'm just gonna pick one at random. Alright, okay, let's just look at this one here. So, from Circus Star's Army, right? Emily's character was rushed. Lumity isn't that good, and it's overrated / overhyped. The Owl House season 2B was messy and bad. I don't think I should say more because people are gonna come at me. Okay, yeah, these are definitely hot takes. But when it comes to Amity's character, I honestly don't get why people say it's rushed. I mean, I guess in the one aspect that it is a bit rushed is the transition from being an enemy to Luz to being like to being a crush for Luz. Like that is a bit of a stretch. But season 2 onwards, I feel like Amity's character arc is like pretty well paced. The second point though, like I can understand the perspective of it because I'll admit, like the Owl House is only as popular as it is because of Lumity. So in that aspect, yes, it may be overrated and overhyped, but I still say it's a good ship. And you have to understand why it's got so much hype as it is. It's the first canon LGBT couple in a Disney show, so of course people are going to be excited on it. So don't blame them on that. And season 2B being as messy and bad. I mean, season 2B was really good, but I will say King's Tide was a little overhyped. Like, it's a little overrated. I mean, although it could just be me because I am comparing it to True Colors, which had the most memorable shock ending that I've ever seen in a show. So for the Owl House to match that, it's sort of an impossible feat. So my expectations were just really high for King's Tide, and it didn't really meet those expectations. But again, it could just be me. So yeah, overall, these takes are... most of them I actually agree with, but definitely there are definitely some that I disagree with, and that last one in particular. So yeah, well, like though, I mean, I wish I can read through all these comments, but I literally do not have enough time. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great day. See you in the next one.